um, now we are standing up an information with the Denyce Grace Foundation, and
Yes.
we are centered around hidden figures and those untold stories. My life as a storyteller. Now
Mhm.
I'm making a conscious choice to tell those stories that are unknown, those stories that have been hidden, those stories that have been intentionally disregarded or swept under the rug or invisible, and not just singers, but events, all of those kinds of things. So um, I would say that I did not set out to um, form a foundation. It kind of happened with the cooking show that I started, which I did intentionally set out to do
Mhm.
during
Mhm.
COVID, but I wanted to do something that would encourage young people, and I wanted to support young people because I'm also not just a mother, but I'm also, a teacher. I'm a voice builder,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
work with young people all the time. And for those young people that have been under my care, um, all of a sudden there was no work, right? There was everybody's calendars were just wiped clean, and I was trying to find a way to keep my students encouraged and to bolster their confidence and to create something that would build community, that would be a lot of fun, and that would give them an opportunity to perform and to reach new audiences. And because my focus had really been on the artistic side of it,
Mhm. Mhm.
cooking is incredibly artistic and
Absolutely. And a
nurturing and all those
science.
things, just like music is. Uh,
Yes.
it was leading us into a very different path, and so now we have the Denyce Grace Foundation, and I couldn't even say that until like maybe a couple days ago. Every time I said the Denyce Grace Foundation, I felt a little bit like, oh my God, like that's me, and that's my name out there, that we're sort of touting, and like this has got to be good, it's got to be great, and because there was a level of humility, I would say, still, I mean, like feeling like, oh my gosh, it's such a big thing, like a foundation after my name, like, oh my God. Um, and it's only recently that I can actually say it myself and not feel a little bit like, I can say that we are standing up the Denyce Graves Foundation
Mhm.
and feel responsibility and pride for what it is that we're doing. But it was not my choice. It was not the name that I came up with. And it was not where I thought I was going to go. But, the life is ever unpredictable. And no
Yes.
one could have imagined that we would live like what we've lived through, everybody all over at every corner of the earth, of the globe. Like we've all had this shared experience. And the different things that have been born and have come out of that, you know,
Mhm.
moment, and
Mhm.
something beautiful like this foundation, and being able to want to be able to help my students and want to be able to help your students that you were talking about, the young girls in Washington or in Southeast or who don't have exposure. Like what would we
Worldwide.
world
Worldwide.
worldwide, like what will we do? We have that. I know of the incredible generosity of these women who took me, in their arms, and who set me on this path and said, you're going to do it, and who supported me and who raised money for me to go to college, and who came to my performances and everything that I did. And so many incredible women like that, you know
Yes.
and we have them. When my students walk through the door now and I see their young faces, that makes me want to cry every single time.
Mhm.
um, and they're so excited and so eager, and they want to make their mark in the world. I feel a responsibility to that thing, that whatever makes them want to sing, that calling. I feel like I want to help them, and I want to take care of them, and I want to nurture them, and I want to help guide them, because so many people have done that for me
Yes.
and continue to. The thing about having this career that I've had, the
Mhm.
most wonderful part about the whole of it is
Yes.
the people that I've met. The thing that's been the most beautiful about the entire experience have been the people. The people have been spectacularly off the charts, gorgeous in every way that breaks my heart every single time. And so, because there's been such an outpouring of generosity and kindness from people,
Mhm.
like
Keep
that's what
talking,
I
double
want to
plugging.
offer the world. I want to offer that back. to the world,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I want to offer that to the next generation of not just singers and instrumentalists or authors or whomever, that's so important to have somebody to believe in you and to see you and to say, I see your talent and I believe in you to be, and I still have those people in my life, right?
Yeah.
So that's important, and that's how I want to use my life. I want to use my life to help promote and lift up those artists, past and present, right? Whether it's the voice and the forgotten or the dropped legacy of Mary Cardwell Dawson, or
Mm-hmm.
whether it's somebody like Simone Harkham, who's one of the great sopranos coming along today, or Simone Brown, or all these beautiful singers that I have had the privilege to be a part of their story. I want to use my life in service to that.
Excellent. And that is something um, that is a lesson and a skill that has been lost. I would say the millennials, that generation of give back and um, building yourself up so that you can help the future. I think that has been lost. And I think what you're doing with your foundation is a beautiful purpose. And there aren't a lot of us out there. And so, I mean, to give with no strings attached, you know what I mean? Like today, everybody wants something. It's like, okay, well, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is there for me? What's in it for me is their answer.
Mhm.
And that does not help the Black community at all. We have always had to just, especially Black women, just give without any strings attached. But it's not giving back to us. And so some of us have become like bitter and, that whole thing. But I believe that it's just a natural universal law that you give and you'll get what you need. You don't have to be so concerned about, well, what's in it for me right now. It's like, you'll get it later. Don't worry about it.
And I
So
think also, yeah,
mhm.
I understand what you're saying, and also I don't know. I think that to give is to receive. And
Excellent.
when you do that, you get so much more back.
Yes.
I know that when I would have a great voice lesson, you couldn't tell me anything. Like the way that I felt after leaving that lesson or a great concert, or when you do something good for someone
Hmm.
and how that makes you feel
Oh my gosh.
and
Yeah.
what that deposits into your own soul. And I
We
think
gotta,
I think that's universal. I think that's universal. I think everybody feels that way, you
we
know?
gotta teach it. We gotta teach it because they've forgotten. They have
Yeah. I
forgotten.
had experience once in China, where I was there working in the conservatory, and the Chinese can be incredibly generous people. And they've given me these presents, like really so many presents. And I could see all around me, like people smiling and crying, and they were so happy for me that it just broke my heart into 100 pieces, because I could see that they were happy to be able to do that. And I was so moved at that level of just purity, right? And honesty, that they were so happy to be able to do that. And so I think it's a universal thing. I think that when we are able to extend ourselves and really offer something to help another human being, to really show our humanity, it makes us better people.
It really does. It really does. It really does. And I'm so glad that your foundation is expanding on that and reaching out to young people in this way. Um, let me get to my last question. Oh, this is changing the channel a little bit. Is in the opera world, has the audience changed? How do you feel about that? You know, has it
Yeah,
changed? Do you see more of us there? And
yeah, I
how do you
think the
feel about
audience
that?
has changed because I think that also the opera houses are being much more responsible in the stories that they tell, and
Hmm.
they're much more inclusive in telling different stories. I mean, everybody has a story, right? And all these different perspectives. But what we see particularly happening in America is that a lot of opera companies are folding in new works all the time. There's this real renaissance of new works being composed by African American composers, white composers, women composers that are telling different stories, right? And so it's great, that we have things like Nozze di Figaro, which we know isn't going to go anywhere. It's fantastic, main staple in the repertory. But it's
Hmm.
great when you have something like Champion, Metropolitan Opera did last season after 30 years, the Porgy and Bess, you couldn't get a ticket. You could not get a ticket to get in.
Wow.
Or Akhenaten, you could not get a ticket to get in. And so it's the telling of these different stories. I think that's important, and that's drawing out younger people, people of color, all kinds of people who want to, see art being made and to learn something about something that they would have otherwise not known, right? So I see that happening, not just in the opera, I see it happening at the ballet. My daughter and I are big fans of Misty Copeland. And when we go to, want to see her, I see that the audience, it's becoming more and more varied and more diverse. So I'm incredibly hopeful
Yes.
what we see happening. And it's a question also of exposure. I think that what's happened during COVID has been really important in terms of there's been so much art being created online where
Hmm.
people don't, can sit at home and watch that or different things on television that's exposing people to all kinds of different art. And that I think has made the difference. So yes, I am encouraged. I'm encouraged to, we still have a sort of a targeted audience, but we're seeing more people get in the mix there. So, yes. And I think that also when you see different artists on the stage, that makes a huge difference too.
Hmm.
Because you've got
Absolutely.
friends and you've got family and you've got people who want to come and support you and see you. And it's important for everybody. It's important for everybody. To see
Absolutely.
all kinds of people there is important for Black people as and equally important for white people. I think
Absolutely.
because people have got to know that music and all and art and all belongs to everybody,
Right. Exactly.
and
Exactly.
particularly where opera is concerned.
Absolutely. And that's I'm very pro-Black. And that we're not a monolith, like you, I've always loved to tell stories. From day one, I was like asking people questions, but I was an introvert, very shy. But anyway, we won't talk about that. But I've noticed that, like, if you walked into an office, like in the 1990s, as you are, who you are, intelligent, um, gorgeous, um, a lot of employees wouldn't know, they wouldn't believe you. Like, they'd be like, where did you come from? You know what I mean? Because our images are projected one way. I mean, the Cosby Show was around, so maybe they may have had a little difference. That's television, but in their communities, they don't interact with Black women like us. So you're right. They need to see us in that position, and so that they know,
Right.
we exist.
People have been fed a certain diet, and that's a lie. It's a lie, and it's been a lie from the beginning. But
Yes.
if they keep continuing to show, people of color, whatever, in stereotypical roles, that it's not until you meet someone, it's not until you have an experience with someone, it's not until you see them in something else other than what I've always said that white people can go their entire lives and really not have to ever interact with a person of color, but
That's true.
that's not the case the other way around. Not
No, it's not.
And so I think it's incredibly important that people, see that there's gifts and talent and and a rich abundance and a array. We are as different as everybody else is, right?
Absolutely.
And they are as good as we are, right? And
Absolutely.
all of that, I think, is super, super important, if we're going to reshape the world and the nation. We've got to tell if you see what's going on television, if we've seen, all of these protests and everything that's going on, it's because, like I've always said, the center for me of every conflict, like the root of every conflict that there is, because somebody felt disrespected, somebody felt dismissed, somebody felt not seen, somebody felt like somebody, thought that they were better than them. That's like at the bedrock of every kind of conflict, right? Somebody thinks that this way is better, somebody this is, and all of that is so what's important is that it's not until we each extend, and that means Black people too,
Absolutely.
to extend ourselves to people who are not like us, right? Even though, I would say that, historically, it's been just the other way around. And a lot of Black people have extended themselves, but I think that we cannot give up. We cannot lose hope. We have to make each day, each person that you pass, you can make the difference. We all know that experience where the lady in the grocery store smiles at you and it makes all the difference in that day. Or, somebody holds the door open for you and the difference that makes in your day. So we have the opportunity, as long as we're living, to extend kindness to just humanity, just people, just every person, to help, because you don't know, like, what that might do or how that might affect another person.
Yes, change.
So yeah, so it's super, super important, and it's important, and it's hard. It is hard. It's hard to not, harbor, harsh feelings about people. It's hard sometimes. It really is. But everybody's born the way that they are, not their choice. And the world and this earth belongs to all of us. And we have an obligation, to leave a better place to those who are coming up and coming behind us. And I think that the older you get, the more you feel like you really want to, because for all of us who are scratching our heads and shaking our heads at everything that we see on the news every day, which can be just so deflating and disheartening when you look at everything that's going on, you say that at the same time, yes, there is a lot of horror and a lot of just a lot of terrible things going on in the world. No question about it.
Yes.
There are also a lot of beautiful things that are happening that don't get reported, and that we do have an opportunity to make a change, even if it's a small one. Each person has that opportunity every day. And so as long as we have life, we have an opportunity to do something different. We can choose love, we can choose kindness, we can choose tolerance, we can make that choice every time, even though it's hard, actually, especially when it's hard.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful journey and of several examples of getting out of your comfort zone is what I picked up on the entire interview, was that every journey you were getting out of your comfort zone, from the shy person to this very outgoing, very outspoken person. And I think that that is a lesson that a lot of our young girls need to look forward to and to learn, that once they get off their block, get out of their city, get out of their country, that their life will change and it'll grow. And I think your life has been a great and a perfect example of that.
Well, God be all the glory, and thank you so much.